Some of my fathers. My father worked with his hands, turned timber on great lathes, cut cornices to acute angles. He would saw and screw, hammer and glue. He buffeting wood against wood, measure by thumb and set square. Dovetailing joints with mortise and tenon, he would shave back and sand coarsely, finely, then lastly he would polish the surface with the roughened bare skin of his palm. He would tell me that if you can build things with love, you will never be far from shelter. His father worked with his hands, bent metal into giant jigs, cut sheets and formed them. He would solder pipe to rod, to pin, to pinion, and make precise movement possible with cogs. And he would wind fine springs, lubricating intricate pivots. He would measure to the nth of a degree, and then check those measurements with metric instruments, and he would find they always fitted, slotted just so into place, machine matched. And he would say, if you can do the work you love, then you will never lack demand for your labour. Now his father worked with his hands, tailoring fine garments, cut cloth into neat and complex shapes. He would mark each pattern by eye and slice on dotted line. He would tuck and fold vents and pleats, stitched loose or tight, so the material might fit just right. He would picture the pieces in his mind, and with his needle he would bind them. He would measure the piping, the lining and the taper with his tape to benefit comfort, practicality and fit. And he said, if you can make things that people love, you never need worry about being found naked or exposed. His father and going way back further, they worked with their hands. They worked the land, cut crops and gathered them. They would work to the rise and set of the sun and measured seasons by the stars. They would sow and reap and sow, took what they needed and gave back what they could. They would give precious land over to fallow. Hand to mouth, ground to plate, they would share in the bounty of the harvest, for they knew sometimes crops would fail. And they would say that if you sow the seeds with love, your heart will never grow hungry. Oh, to the probable dismay of my forefathers, I don't work with my hands. I measure my metre in rhyme, cut adrift from the honesty of labour. But I would learn to understand what it is to be at one with the land, to only take what I need and give back what I could. I would learn to reap and sow and build and grow. Work the soil, properly toil, not simply consume. I would learn to share in the bounty of the harvest, for I would know sometimes crops will fail. I would still sing my songs in the fields and the furrows, giving thanks to the lark as my daily alarmer. I would say that if you can choose your words with love, you will never be left without someone kind enough to listen. So to all the fathers and mothers and sons and daughters, sisters, brothers, friends and partners, all those who stand alone and those we do not yet know, we can work with our hands, learn to share again, cut our losses and start again. We can live in harmony and not carve up the land into little parcels so that we might measure them. We could measure our success instead by happiness or our contentment. And we could work with our hands at least to start, and then we could work with our minds and work with our hearts. We could mould the raw materials of us and improve upon them. Shape ourselves, each and together, into better humans. And then maybe we can truly say, if you sow the seed of love, none will grow hungry.